Homeschooling turned me into a learner. I was already inclined to be interested in a lot of things, but homeschooling developed that skill and that expertise in this is how you learn.
With homeschooling, you're able to personalize the curriculum to each individual child and figure out how they learn best and then be able to teach them in that way, and so then they can learn to the best of their ability.
One of the main things is it really structures how you think and how you learn. So I think homeschoolers are really able to learn on their own, and that's a really useful skill to be able to figure things out later in life.
I knew how to set a pace for myself. I knew how to get things done. I knew how to learn on my own.
Whether it's podcasts, how-to videos on YouTube, or just reading lots of books, I have a passion to learn that was instilled in me through homeschooling, and that is something that I intend to continue for the rest of my life.
Homeschooling gives us a ton of flexibility. It's one of those things where, as we've started our own business, we've had different transitions with having to move from one location to another. It gives us the ability to just ultimately have freedom in our choices for whatever we feel is necessary at the time.
I am so interested in everything: science, math, reading, biographies, history. All of that stuff is interesting because I was given like little tastes of it in homeschooling, and then as an adult, the learning never stopped.
It gave me a lot of opportunities to volunteer and serve in different areas. We started volunteering with a ranch that I actually work for now. It's a nonprofit organization that does therapeutic horseback riding, and we started volunteering there when I was 5. And over the years just continued to serve in different roles and actually work there as a job now. So that was one big thing, is just the opportunity to be able to serve and give back as well, instead of just taking the education in, but actually being able to apply it in a practical way.
In my area, we're very fortunate. We have one of the more active athletic leagues, but there's several of them across the U.S. that we've competed against. And so we have different athletic programs, from basketball to volleyball to baseball to football. And I participated in several of those when I was a kid. And we even got to play against a lot of the public schools and sometimes get to show them a thing or two.
It gave our family a lot of opportunity to start things, run things. We did orchestra, we did public speaking clubs, certainly involved with our church. Just a lot of family time and a lot of opportunity to develop really strong sibling relationships and good family relationships.
I have been able to connect with different kinds of people and across different age groups. And so that has been helpful for me, because as people my age are going into the workplace, a lot of times they have a very difficult time associating with people who are, Generation X or baby boomers and so forth, people who are older than they are, because they've been surrounded by people in their peer group and people who are their age and a lot of times from very similar socioeconomic backgrounds. And so I was able to relate to adults a lot easier than most people, and I was able to relate to people who were just very different than I was. And so that was a huge advantage that I had going into the workplace.
So right now I work for my dad selling insurance, and being able to talk to people clearly, and then also being able to take the time to step back and look at the problem I've got on hand, whether it's an insurance claim or processing numbers or whatever, figuring out everything that's going on with those, and then being able to communicate that with the client that I'm talking to. And honestly, I don't feel like I would have been as prepared to do that or as equipped to do that if I wouldn't have been homeschooled and given the opportunities of speech and debate, and then of just being involved with church and being involved with friends.
I would say for someone who's considering homeschooling and kind of on the fence about that, to really consider what kind of ideas, what kind of environment you want your kids to grow up in, what kind of ways you want them to think. I think parents really do care about kids and have the best perspective on what's good for kids.
It just helped me in general to think outside the box about everything, because 30 years ago, the idea that somebody could be educated at home and that it would be successful was such a crazy idea, and now there are millions of people doing it in the United States. And online college, which is what I'm doing right now, that was a crazy idea a decade ago. Now that's become much more commonplace. And so it's really kind of stretched the boundaries of what I thought was possible in my life. Because my education and my preparation for life was so out of the norm, I just feel like I'm going into the workplace and going into life and I'm completely optimistic about what it is that I can do, but also just what opportunities are out there. And I'm considering stuff that I probably would have never considered if I had just, been kind of pushed through the gate, so to speak, and brought up through the system of being kind of spoon-fed education as I went along.